Welcome back to the We Call It YouTube channel where the draft never stops, and neither do we. I'm your host, Owen, and today I have a fun experiment that I'm actually going to be going over with you guys here, and it's going to be a weekly series I do throughout this NFL regular season, and it ties between the draft, which is my usual coverage on this channel, and fantasy football, just touching on a new kind of topic that I thought that I play anyway, and I know most people find interesting. So today I'm going to be going over a special league that I'm running with my friends where I am drafting and trying to see if I can win a fantasy league that's for money, like actually like competitive, with only a team made up of rookies this year. So let me go in and we'll first introduce the team and who's playing and what my current roster looks like. So right here you can see my starting lineup. We don't have defenses or kickers. I know Tyler Loop is a rookie kicker this year, but I felt like he wasn't really a good option for me. I didn't want to, in case he got hurt or he got cut, how many other rookie kickers there were in the league, and I just didn't want to really mess around with that. And for defenses, without doing individual defensive players, which would kind of limit who would be interested in taking part in this, I felt like that was just complicated more so. So I went with quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, tight end, and a flex. Not a super flex, just a regular flex player. And of course, starting off with quarterback, we have Cam Ward. He was the only quarterback I drafted, mostly because none of the other quarterbacks, especially because Tyler Shuck did not win the starting job out of camp, are currently slotted in to be anything other than maybe like Jalen Milroe with some design touches. So for right now, Cam Ward's my only rostered quarterback. If injuries happen and I drop somebody out, I'm probably going to pick up either Jackson Dart or Tyler Shuck. And then if the Cleveland Browns go with Dylan Gabriel as a starter because he's the second string right now, or Shedeur Sanders, I'll pick up whoever is projected to start. So one of the big rules of this league is that since I'm doing all rookies, no one else is allowed to pick up rookies. So I have basically any rookie I want at my disposal to kind of balance it out, because my team is not going to be great, especially when it comes to like quarterbacks and things like that. I have a very limited pool to choose from. Now, a pool that isn't limited and actually ran into issues of who I would prioritize picking up is running backs. We had actually a great running back draft this past draft class. And starting out with my 2 starters, Ashton Genty and Omarion Hampton, they were the 2 highest ranked running backs on ESPN's, and closely behind them is my current starting flex player in Travion Henderson. There was actually so many players left over in free agency that are because of the fact that they're rookies. There's so many good rookie running backs. Just looking at free agency before I go into who's in my bench of rookie running backs still available at this time. We have Quinshon Judkins, who just signed with the Browns, Jaden Blue with Dallas, Bashal Tuden with the Jags, who might be a good pickup for me, Ollie Gordon, Dylan Sampson, Woody Marks. Moving down a little further, we have DJ Giddens, I believe, is a rookie. Kyle Monungai. Just a ton of guys still left over that aren't on anybody's team again, because I'm the one who's allowed to roster rookies. And all these top guys in the free agency are all rookies currently. But let's go back to my team real quick, because yes, I have Genty, Omarion Hampton, and Travion Henderson, who are going to be the 3 players that most people would say are actual legitimate starters in this league. But outside of that, on my bench, RJ Harvey, who's in line to get a bunch of touches with the Broncos. I picked up Cam Skattebo, more of a goal line back. Tyrone Tracy, kind of undersized, gives Cam Skattebo kind of a runway to be that short yardage and goal line type player to really pick up some touchdowns and really boost his fantasy score because of that, being kind of the Thunder to that Thunder Lightning duo there. As well as Ja'Cory Croskett-Merritt, the 7th round rookie out of Washington, who, because Brian Robinson Jr. got traded, is in line to get a significant amount of touches, with Austin Eckler being old and injury prone, as well as I just saw him on the other page and I forgot to compartmentalize who that was, but the 3rd running back at Washington, who I think Croskett-Merritt is going to have an inside track to getting more touches than even their 3rd running back. So he might not be a week 1 starter, but I think he'll definitely develop into somebody that can push for that flex spot later on into this season. And then Caleb Johnson from Pittsburgh. He wasn't my favorite. I'd probably drop him for one of the other guys, but I'm holding on to him specifically because with Arthur Smith as the offensive coordinator in Pittsburgh, who knows what kind of running backs they're going to be filtering through there and who gets the majority of touches. When Najee Harris was there with Arthur Smith last year, Jaylen Warren got more of the touches than he did. Now you got Jonnu Smith there being more of a design touch tight end. You have a guy like Galvin Austin at wide receiver, design touch wide receiver. We'll see how they really split the backfield between Caleb Johnson and Jaylen Warren as running back in Pittsburgh. Because for right now, I wasn't the biggest Caleb Johnson fan coming out of the draft, but being a guy who can be that Najee Harris, just eat up a bunch of carries and get like 3.5 yards per carry, but still get 1,000 yards, I can definitely see that being in Caleb Johnson's future. So he's not a bad stash player for this bench, even though there are some other running back options on the free agent market, like a Bashal Tutin if he establishes himself as the starter in Jacksonville. Quinshad Judkins, now that he's back with the Browns. There's a couple guys that I may be looking to move Caleb Johnson on for those guys. Now on to wide receiver. We have Tedero McMillan, who I think is going to have like 1,200 plus yards this season. I think he's going to be the number one receiving option in that offense. We don't really know what's going on with Xavier Legette, and Bryce Young specifically requested that they drafted McMillan, and he's been working with him all offseason. I think he's going to be in line for a ton of production. So even in my non-all-rookie leagues, I definitely think he's going to be someone who can be a starting receiver almost immediately in week one. Then we have Travis Hunter at my other starting wide receiver position. I actually don't know if I'd rather go with him for this week versus like an Emeka Egbuka or Matthew Golden, who I have on my bench, including Jaden Higgins as well. I'd probably stay away from Higgins as of right now just because Nico Collins is still healthy, and I don't know how often Higgins is going to be the focal point of that offense with other receiving options like Xavier Hutchinson, Dalton Schultz at tight end, and whoever's coming out of the backfield. We'll see if C.J. Stroud gets the ball to Higgins in a significant enough margin, so I don't really think he's in contention. But between Golden, Egbuka, and Hunter, there's going to be a player that goes off for more this week. I'm maybe thinking about going with Egbuka. Chris Godwin's still slow to come back. I believe the other McMillan, Jalen McMillan from former University of Washington, rookie last year for the Bucks, he's banged up, I believe, so he might be slow to come across. So I think Egbuka might be in line to have the number 2 amount of targets in this game against the Falcons defense. So I think let's make that move right now. We're going to take Travis Hunter out and put Egbuka in. I'm just kind of scared off by Travis Hunter and how much he's going to get runway with the offense because he's splitting both ways. But we'll see that. A position I'm not worried about in the slightest, and if the running backs weren't as good, I'd be doubling up at this position in my flex, is tight end, where I have Tyler Warren, a player I think is comparable to what Brock Bowers was coming out last year. I have Tyler Warren graded very similarly, and I think they're both equivalent when it comes to their dynamic ability as a receivers. I think Warren's a bit better of a blocker, but it gives up a bit more of that receiving ability that Bowers had naturally coming out of college. But Tyler Warren, definitely going to be a difference maker and a focal point of that Indy offense. And I have Colston Loveland. Now, their matchup this week is Miami and Minnesota. So I think I might go with Loveland, or I'm definitely going to go with Warren over Loveland, because I don't trust Miami's linebacker core as much as Minnesota's to be able to kind of lock up a tight end. But we'll see. We'll see what the trends are. It's kind of all guessing game here in week one. But that is my current lineup. I know other tight ends I could have maybe grabbed were like Mason Taylor from the Jets, or the tight end for the Seahawks who was drafted on Miami, Florida last year that I can't remember, Elijah Arroyo. He'll be another good receiving option. But for right now, that is my current team setup. And let's just look over here, and this is where I'll go through my normal weekly updates to this series will be me going over, see if I did any ad drops, reviewing last week, and then looking at my matchup for this week. So this week we're playing against You're Actin' Tough, who is one of my buddies that I do coaching with. And I know I'm projected to lose. I know I just made the switch with Egbuka, so it's a bit closer. But yeah, he has Dak Prescott, Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor, CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, George Kittle, and DJ Moore. The only place I'm really taking away points on him is my wide receiver 3, because I made that, my wide receiver 2, because I made that Egbuka switch with Travis Hunter, and my flex, because Travion Henderson is currently projected to outproduce DJ Moore. I mean, it's going to be tough because, like I said, a full team of rookies is not going to be particularly a good team, at least not right away. The projections are going to be on the lower end. But we'll see. The whole point of this experiment is to see if we can go through and beat a regular season team or have a decent record of just rookies versus all veterans. So that is my week 1 matchup in my overall roster. Meet the roster of my all-rookie team that I'm currently going to try to win a fantasy football league with this year. So I hope you come along on the ride with this. Watch, and every Thursday when I do my updates on last week's game versus the upcoming matchups, kind of roster movements, talking about the recap of how my players did. And let's see if we can actually have a winning record with a rookie team and maybe even make the playoffs. We'll see how that goes. But if you enjoyed this, make sure to come back, check out any of the other content I'm going to be making this upcoming football season. And as well, always, see you in the next one.